Chicago Blackhawks have lost just 4 times in their last 22 games overall. Tonight they bring a 6-point Norris Division lead into Toronto. Hello again, everybody. Pat Foley and Dale Talon from Maple Leaf Gardens, an historic building, but unfortunately the team is not living up to the building's reputation. The North Stars, or I should say the Maple Leafs, with the second worst record in the National Hockey League. It's been 2.5 months since we've seen them, but things haven't gotten a lot better here.
Well, let's hope we're not a tonic for their woes, as we have been in the last 2 games. The last game in here, the Blackhawks trailed 3-0 after the first period, caught up, but then ended up losing the game 6-4. I think it was only the second win of the year for the Leafs, and both wins coming at the hands of the Blackhawks. The Blackhawks are in control of first place now, but they could really be in solid control with this weekend series against Toronto. If they have a good outing tonight, a good start. They have 6 periods of hockey against one of the worst teams in hockey. They have a good opportunity to really make some ground between them and between second and first place.
One of the things the Hawks were having trouble with early in the season was picking up points against the lower teams, Toronto being one of them. Lately, though, they've been able to fatten up on almost everybody.
Well, their record against the Norris Division, and they've got a lot of games left. They don't have that many road games. They'll have 12 road games after this one tonight, and the majority of their games left will be against Norris Division teams. So for the Blackhawks to have an outstanding year, they've got to continue their winning ways against teams in their own division. They can create their own destiny. But teams like Toronto, good teams win against the teams that they should win against, and hopefully the Blackhawks now are a team that are confident enough and solid enough, with everybody returning back to the lineup, that they are considered one of the top teams and that they will knock off a low team like the Leafs in back-to-back encounters on this weekend.
We were figuring before the game, the Hawks have 30 games left, including tonight. About 18 of them will be against Norris Division opponents, so a lot of games in their own division for Chicago. Meanwhile, even though the Hawks have been going well, a little bit of a different look in the lineup tonight for the Blackhawks.
Well, Ken Yaremchuk will not dress because he's been in a slump, a scoring slump. He hasn't scored in his last 10 games. Wayne Presley out of the lineup, and Billy Gardner, who has not played in some time, out of the lineup. So we'll have Watson in there, Ludzik will be in there, and some new faces for the Hawks. Depth, a big positive factor.
First period face-off coming up. First, we pause and enjoy the anthem. Get ready to meet the Maple Leafs for the 3rd time this year, and the referee for the game tonight will be Andy Van Helleman, the linesman Jerry Pateman, and Ray Scampanello.
Bob Sauvé in the net for the Blackhawks. Sauvé with only 2 losses in his last 10 games. He's 11-7-1, 3.60 goals against average. And another former Buffalo Sabre gets the call. Back-to-back starts for Don Edwards. Former Calgary Flame as well, has 8 wins, 15 losses, 4.81 goals against average. And that's right about where the Leafs' goals against average is, 4.83.
Here we go. The first period gets underway with a draw coming to Ben Wilson, who shot it to center. Rick Vaive turns back for the Leafs. Steps into the Hawk zone, pulled down by Frazier, but the play goes on. On the near side, Troy Murray rolled it to center. Here's Olczyk moving to the line. Olczyk tried to center. It deflected away from Frazier and taken by the Leafs, Stosny. Marian Stosny shot it down into the Hawk zone. Ben Wilson goes back. It'll be an icing call against Toronto.
Rick Vaive, the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs, former 50-goal scorer, really having some difficulty. He injured his right hand. He broke a bone in his right hand, and really is having an off year as far as goals are concerned. It's tough for him to let that wicked shot of his go with that bottom hand on the stick, the key hand.
Vaive has appeared in only 32 games as a result of that broken hand. 14 goals and 27 points for Vaive while he's been able to play. Face off to the left. of Don Edwards. Troy Murray and Tom Fergus ready to draw to Olczyk, and a blocker save by Edwards. Puck over to the far side. Olczyk center one. Troy Murray the drive. That's deflected up over the glass and into the crowd.
Time and time again, we've repeated the importance of face-offs. This time the Hawks, so many good opportunities created because of face-offs. If you win the face-off, you can usually get a good shot on net. Troy Murray won the face-off to Olczyk. His shot was blocked by Edwards. The return pass across to Troy Murray and was deflected neatly by Nyland.
Face-off to the left of veteran Don Edwards. Here's the draw. Squirts back of the goal. Nyland. Gary Nyland trying to clear. Did get it out to center ice. Taken by DuPont. Jerome DuPont on the near side. Knocked down. Puck slides free into the Leaf zone, and Maxwell put it to the far side and five. Rick five. Bounce it to center. Nyland. Gary Nyland's speed broke it up nicely by Ben Wilson, who was standing up at his own blue line. And Troy Murray then shot it to center ice. Now the Leafs try to move back in. Stosny knocked down, but is carried down by Maxwell, who shot it back of the Hawk net. DuPont now feeding to the near side. Bounced away from Olczyk. Then he got it back, and Olczyk shot it to the Toronto line as the Hawks want to complete a player change. Here comes Jim Benning for the Leafs. Benning shooting one in. Bounces free into the deep slot right to Lysiak. And Tom Lysiak back for Chicago. Comes over the line. A drop pass for Bob Murray. A shot right on, and a save by Edwards. And he holds on.
Tom Lysiak, coming off a strong performance against the New York Rangers, dropped it neatly to the oncoming Bob Murray, and his waist-high shot. Edwards didn't have to move. Gary McAdam, another veteran player that's so traveled, played in so many different clubs. Buffalo, Pittsburgh, New Jersey. Last year played in the American Hockey League most of the year.
And just came up to the Leafs. He's been in St. Catharines for a large part of this season. Here's the draw to Doug Wilson, a shot. Edwards the save. Rebound to the near side, and Terrion now starts the Leafs back. Gave it to Salming, who shot it to center ice. Came right back to Boreas Salming. He clears it by everybody down into the Hawk zone. Doug Wilson will touch it first, and that'll be an icing call against Toronto.
Kenny Savard in the two previous games against the Leafs, only 1 goal and 1 assist. A lot of players would be happy with those statistics, averaging a point a game, but Savard, who's been red hot, averaging 2 points a game in the last little while. Last year had a field day against these Toronto Maple Leafs, and he's looking to get on track tonight.
In the last 26 games the Hawks have played, Dennis Savard has failed to get a point in only one. 46 points in those 26 games. And he's got a 6-game scoring streak on the line coming into tonight's action. Here's the draw. Comes to the near side. Daou fell down. O'Callaghan able to hold it in. Cleared over to the far side. Came to Doug Wilson. A long shot. That's sent wide. And the Leafs, Terrion, tries to start back. He cleared it to the Hawk line. Secord had his man well checked there. Puck bouncing to the near side. Daou, a long shot. And that sails up over the glass and into the crowd.
The Leafs putting out a checking line. Terrion, former Los Angeles King. Dan Daou, the former Montreal Canadian. And Gary McAdam, the former every team in the National Hockey League. All three of them out there, they probably will not worry about offense. Except that Greg Terrion scored the hat trick against the Leafs in the last game here that the Blackhawks lost to them.
The Leafs beat the Blackhawks 5-1 in the home opener for Chicago back in early October. And here in Toronto, the Leafs won 6-4 in the middle of November. Here's the draw, cleared back into the Toronto end. Edwards leaves it behind the net. Now it's cleared to the left wing boards. Walt Podubny shot it to center. Preacher over the line against Bergevin. Tries to cut in, and Mark Bergevin forced him in behind the goal, and now the net has been knocked up off its moorings as Sutter and Podubny both went crashing into the Hawk goal.
Good defensive play by Bergevin, taking the body on Freacher. Freacher with good speed on the off wing. Had a step on Bergevin momentarily, but Bergevin closed the gap and rubbed him off into the corner.
Face-off will be to the right of Bob Sauvé. Boy, oh boy, look at all the empty seats around this building.
Yeah, but they're all sold.
Fairly sizable snowstorm in Toronto today. I'm sure holding down the crowd somewhat, but it used to be a lot more difficult to beg, borrow, or steal a ticket to a Maple Leaf game than it has been in recent years. Here's the draw. Coming to Keith Brown. He shot it to center ice. Lysiak bounced it into the Leaf zone. Now Chris Kotsopoulos shot it to center ice. Mark Bergevin for Lysiak. He had it knocked away, and then at the last moment he was able to poke check it from Freacher. Now the Hawks try to regroup in their own end. Mark Bergevin's pass intercepted in a check center when Freacher right in alone. Sauvé stopped him as Freacher tried to stick handle, and Bob Sauvé smothered it right in the goal crease. We're early in the game with no score. Back after this on Sports Vision and WBBM.
The Hawks give the puck away in their own zone. Bergevin's pass intercepted. Freacher all alone in front. Someone you don't want to have all alone in front because he has great moves, but he made one extra move. Sauvé made the save.
Face off to the left of Bob Sauvé. Here's the draw to Doug Wilson behind the net. Now Wilson has room. Cleared it ahead to Rick Patterson, who's bumped at center. Now Patterson able to get it back, and he shovels it into the Leaf zone. Steve Ludzik is out centering this Hawk line between Watson and Patterson. And here come the Leafs breaking out. Over the line, far side, a drop pass for Russ Courtnall. He's bumped along the boards, and it bounced off of O'Callahan and into the crowd.
The 3-on-3 situation, that's exactly what you'd like. You want to have two guys in deep forechecking, but never have that third guy caught. But the Hawks played beautifully. O'Callahan came across, took his man, and deflected the potential shot by Courtnall into the crowd as he took the body as well.
Face-off just inside the Chicago line. Ludzik, in a rare game in which he's been able to play center, is the position he'd probably prefer. He broke in that way as a centerman, but has been converted to left wing with the excess of Chicago's centerman. Here's a draw shot into the Leaf zone. Salming put it to the far side. Now here's Russ Courtnall moving back over the Hawk line. O'Callahan stood him up, but Clark moves in. Sauvé the save. Rebound to Bill Watson, as the rookie Wendell Clark just made something out of nothing to get a scoring chance for Toronto. Now Clark clearing it into the Hawk zone. Doug Wilson intercepts there. Wilson moving back to center and then just flips one in as the Blackhawks will change on the move. Jim Benning back for Toronto. Now Benning looks to start out. He rolled it by everybody out to center ice. Taken by DuPont. Jerome DuPont shot it back into the Leaf zone. Benning rings it around the boards, and it bounces free to center. Ben Wilson trying to flip it back in, shot it into the seats, and a whistle.
The Blackhawks have had 4 shots on goal, but the Leafs have had 2. But both Leaf shots have been 2 good scoring chances. One by Freacher and one by the rookie Clark as he broke in and had a out-battled Rick Patterson for the pass and got the shot on goal. Wendell Clark, a throwback to the old type of winger, up and down his wing, an aggressive player. Out-muscles Rick Patterson here and gets the shot away. Sauvé had to make a good save.
Here's the draw to Ed Olczyk at center ice. He shoots it in, hoping for a rebound to Frazier, but the Leafs got there first. Maxwell put it back of his own net. Olczyk after it there. Loose to Frazier. Wraparound. He scores! Kurt Frazier on the wraparound after he and Olczyk banging the board. Jammed it loose. 1-0 Chicago.
Kurt Frazier, 16th of the year and second goal since inserted back in the lineup. This line really clicked well against the New York Rangers. Eddie Olczyk out battling Nyland, got the pass off the back of the net. Fraser took it in and wrapped it in past Edwards from the short side.
Fraser from Olczyk at 5:17. Now Ben Wilson a shot, rebound. Just too far for Troy Murray in front, and here come the Leafs back. On the far side, Vive moves in behind the net. Dupont, oh, he got the elbow up high that time, knocking Vive down, and that'll be a Chicago penalty coming up. Not much doubt about that. With the score, the Blackhawks 1, the Maple Leafs nothing. A Toronto power play after this on Sports Vision at WBBM.
The worst power play in the National Hockey League goes to work. The first penalty of the game, Jerome Dupont on Rick Vive, and no doubt about it, Dupont got the elbow up on Vive as he sent him flying into the end boards. Leafs power play at a 16% clip. 35 goals and 219 chances.
Face off here to the right of Sauvé. The draw to Benning at the near point. Benning moving along the line with it, put it to the far corner, in a check. Or rather, Stosny put it back to the line. Now it's cleared in behind the Hawk net. Vive. Rick Vive to the near point for Benning. He gave it back to Vive along the boards, again to Benning. He moves in, shoots one, tip right on, rebound. Sauvé, great save, moving post to post. And he holds off the lead Stosny.
Well, he makes an excellent save on the initial deflection by Fergus, and then quickly got to his feet to make the save on Stosny. Sauvé in the last little while has shown great ability. Once he goes down to pop right back up on his feet. How quickly he gets back up to make the save after the initial deflection.
Marian Stosny, who after an off year last year with Quebec came over here to Toronto, and this year third on the Leafs scoring list, 39 points in 43 games for Marian Stosny, the oldest of the three brothers. And his total of 19 goals. Stosny and Freechair each with 19 are one behind team leader Tom Fergus, who has 20. Here's the draw, cleared into the far corner. Stosny along the boards, it came to the line, held in by Salming. Boreas Salming moves to the deep slot, rolled it near side to Benning, shoot, blocked at the defense by Troy Murray. Now over to the far side goes Olczyk. He hacks at it, puck bouncing high into the air. Fergus able to hold it in to the deep slot. Benning, the shot, he shot it wide. Came to the near side, and the Leafs inadvertently clear it out to center ice. A minute to go on the Toronto power play. There's Jim Benning shooting one in. To the far corner, Vive is there first. Rick Vive now works free on the far side. Vive put it to the line. Salming gave it back to Vive, who lost it to O'Callahan. Clears it down all the way. Jim Benning back for the Leafs. Half a minute to go on the Toronto power play. Here comes Freecher over the line. Stops on the far board. Rolled it in front. Bob Murray there to steal. Clears it down all the way. Time for one more Toronto power play rush. And the Leafs move to center. Here's Walt Podubny over the line. Savard chopped it away from him, couldn't get it out. Nyland a long shot. Sauvé the save. He nearly juggled it into his own net. Came free to Freecher in the corner. Miroslav Freecher overskated it. Came free to Savard. Here's Dennis Savard. Going to be a 3-on-2 with Dupont out of the box. Savard over the line, moving to the slot, weaving to the corner now. Centered one. And that's stolen by Podubny in front. Blackhawks back at full strength as Dupont's penalty is over. Here's Podubny over the line with a shot. Sauvé gloving that, and he's going to hold on.
The Hawks penalty killing taking over from their red-hot power play. The power play has cooled off somewhat, but their penalty killing has improved and has been responsible for a lot of big wins in the last couple of weeks. The Hawks are back on Sports Vision and back in Chicago on Wednesday when they face off against the red-hot New York Islanders. Join Pat and myself for all the red-hot action starting at 7:30 right here on Sports Vision. And a reminder, Burns and Allen, The Lone Ranger, Gunsmoke. Listen to WBBM AM's Radio Classics weeknights from 8 to 9 with your host, Chuck Shaden.
Face off to the right of Sauvé. Here's the draw to Jack O'Callahan. Had it knocked away, but Doug Wilson helped. Cleared it not out. Kotsopoulos a long shot. Sauvé the save. Rebound into the far corner. Savard is there. Dennis Savard to Doug Wilson behind the net. Now Wilson moving up slowly, feeds Secord to center. Now Secord gains the line. Now in traffic, had it knocked away, but the Hawks able to hold it in for a moment. But now Wendell Clark starts back to Russ Courtnall. Poked it over the line. Here's a shot, and that shot wide. Came to the near side. Benning chopped one in front. O'Callahan takes over there for Chicago and cleared it to center ice. Steve Larmer bumped by Courtnall, but he cleared it ahead. Savard loose to Secord. Shoots. He shot it wide. Now Doug Wilson holds it in. Put it in behind the net. Kotsopoulos stealing. Chris Kotsopoulos feeding to center. Russ Courtnall a long drive. Sauve gloving that head high. Gave it to Bob Murray, and he feeds Savard to center. Dennis Savard sails one into the lead zone. Tom Fergus back for Toronto to Gary Nyland. And Nyland's pass deflects into his own end. Salming. Boreas Salming flips it back into Chicago territory. And Bob Murray will have to chase it down. Brings it around the boards to Darryl Sutter on left wing. He gave it back to Murray. Bob Murray looks for a play. Didn't have one, so he just cleared it to center. Now here's Salming into his own zone. Leading Nyland. Gary Nyland shooting it into the Chicago end. Now Stosny gets there first, tries to center. Bergevin blocked it, and Sauve came out to gain possession. It's cleared to the near side. Now at the line, Nyland. A long shot tip. It was deflected wide by Fergus. Rebounding to the far side. Now Sutter able to jam it free to Keith Brown at center. Here's Brown moving over the Toronto line. He just pushed it in behind the net. And now the Leafs start back. Rick Vive on right wing to Fergus at center. And the former Boston Bruin Tom Fergus shoots one in. Here's Ben Wilson starting back. Got around one check. Feeding Frazier to center. Heard Frazier sliding it into the Toronto zone. In a check. Has it for the Leafs. Now dropped it back of his own goal to Benning. Benning lost it. Here's Troy Murray for Frazier. Frazier sent it with Olczyk. And a save by Edwards. Brilliant save on Olczyk after the Hawks forced the Toronto giveaway. Here's Podubny over the Chicago line. Gave it to Inacek to the corner. He's knocked down there by DuPont. Hawks clear it to the far side. Ben Wilson got to it. He feeds to Frazier. Here might be a 2-on-1. Frazier over the line, moves right in. The shot, and a rebound. Another save by Edwards. He stopped both Frazier and Olczyk. As this Hawk line, the Clydesdales having a good shift. Here come the Leafs now. Creature into the Hawk zone, 1 against 5 as Toronto is changing players. And the Blackhawks start back. Troy Murray shooting it in. Going back is Toronto's Maxwell. He shot it to center. Now over the line. Courtnall dropped it to Steve Thomas. He lost it to O'Callahan. Cleared to the near side. Nyland held it in. Rolled it along the board. Savard stealing. Dennis Savard bumped it center. Thomas stole it to Courtnall. The return pass is broken up. Then Savard knocked flat on a big hit from Steve Thomas. But the play goes on as the puck cleared to center. Al Secord steps over the line into the deep slot. Centered one. It was behind Larmer. And the Leafs clear, not out. Doug Wilson for Savard to Secord. The shot and a save by Edwards. Rebound to the Leafs. Here's Wendell Clark, the prized rookie. He comes over the Hawk line, but he made an extra move to force an offside. Just under 8 minutes to go in the opening period. 1-0 Chicago. Back in a moment on Sports Vision and WBBS. Let's take 10 for identification. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
You'll see the White Sox, the Bulls, the Blackhawks, and the Sting here on Sports Vision.
Pat Foley and Dale Talon in Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto, where Don Edwards has been the story of this first period.
Well, he has in the last few minutes anyway. Sauve made some big saves early, but the Leafs giving up some 2-on-1 situations, and Edwards has made some great saves, one on Olczyk and one on Frazier.
Now here's the draw to the Leafs. Stosny on left wing at center, shooting it in. Dupont has to hurry back, and he chopped it to Olczyk, who clears it back into Toronto territory. Big Gary Nyland goes back for the Leafs. Gave it to Stosny on the near side, who rolled it to center. Tom Fergus put it over the line. Here's a drive, and Rick Vaive whistled it a couple of feet wide. Back to center ice it goes. Maxwell threw it across to Stosny. He pushed it to the near corner. Vaive knocked down there. Dupont will get another penalty. And the Leafs will have their second power play chance of the game. It's 1-0 Chicago. Back after this on Sports Vision and BBMAM.
Jerome Dupont, who is very familiar with the penalty box in this building, having played junior hockey here. It's the second trip in this game, and the second penalty goes to Dupont. The first one he got for elbowing Rick Vaive. This time he gets it for tripping Rick Vaive at 13:01.
Face off to the right of the Chicago goal. Even though Vaive has missed a large amount of time for the Leafs with his broken hand, he's still the leading power play man for this club. 7 power play goals for Vaive. Nobody else has more than 5 all year. Here's the draw, and the Hawks shoot it down all the way. Jim Benning is back. Now Benning moves the Leafs to center ice. Jim Benning shooting it in, and the Leafs were offside on the play.
And Benning, a former first-round pick in '81, who played junior hockey in Portland. Passes the puck extremely well, but does not have a very hard shot from the point.
Of course, you were doing the games here in Toronto. They had the one year they were going to bring in the 3 youngsters at once.
Well, Benning, they really, I think, set him back a couple of years by putting him into the lineup in his first year when he was only 18. They should have sent him back to junior and let him mature a little bit, and he really would have turned into something, but I think that really hurt him as far as his career is concerned.
One year they had Jim Benning, Bob McGill, who some folks wonder why he's still around. Toughness is the answer. And Fred Boimstruck, who nobody is quite sure where he is, I don't believe. Here's the draw to the near side. Vaive put it to the line. Benning a long shot. Missed it at rebound. Came to the near side. Vaive. Rick Vaive into the corner for Stosny. Gave it back to Vaive at the line. Tees it up. Shooting. Sauvé the save. Rebound to the near side. Bob Murray bumping there with Stosny. Then Fergus dug it out. Centered it. Vaive. The shot. He scores! Rick Vaive banged it in off the far post, and it's 1-1.
Well, there aren't many better players than Rick Vaive when it comes to scoring goals from that range. Nice pass into the slot and a quick release. Obviously his hand is healing. That quick wrist shot from in close. Tom Fergus, one of the better trades the Leafs have made in the last decade, getting him from the Boston Bruins. The quick pass and a quicker shot by Vaive off the post.
A power play goal for Vaive from Fergus and Stosny at 14:03. And the Leafs tie the game at 1. Here's Keith Brown. Clearing it into the Toronto zone. Lysiak rubbed off on the boards. Now over to the far side, held in by Doug Wilson. A long drive, tipped right on, and a save by Edwards. That one changed direction, and Edwards still got the stick in front of it.
Vaive getting his 15th of the year from Stastny and Fergus. Vaive, the former Vancouver Canuck. He came over to the Toronto Maple Leafs on a trade along with Bill Derlego. Derlego was in turn traded to Boston for Tom Fergus. And Derlego the other day traded to Winnipeg for Wayne Campbell. So Boston Bruins giving up a good young player in Fergus. Get a questionable defenseman in Wade Campbell.
Face off to the right of Edwards. Here's the draw to Kotsopoulos. Put it to the near side. And it's chopped out to center. Brown bounced one ahead to Bob Murray. He puts Lysiak over the line. Stopping. Centering to Brown. Couldn't pull the trigger as he was bumped. Centered one. A shot. They score! I think that one bounced in off of Miroslav Preacher. Sutter, I believe, touched it and may get credit for the goal, but the Blackhawks lead 2-1.
Bob Murray started the play in the neutral zone. A quick pass to Lysiak. He got in. Set up Keith Brown. He made the move, lost control of the puck, went to the corner, picked it up, fed it out front, deflected off Sutter, and then the deflection hit Freacher. As he was back-checking, he was standing in the crease. Sutter standing there. Freacher doesn't move him out. He deflects it. It would have gone wide, but it hit Freacher in the leg and went past Edwards.
Brown and Lysiak assisting on Daryl Sutter's goal to put the Hawks in front at 14:39. Here's the play in the Chicago zone. Brown on the near side. Tied up, couldn't clear it. Now it bounces loose to Lysiak. Tom Lysiak deep in his own end to Bob Murray. Murray flipping it ahead, and Sutter stepped in ahead of the play. It's the Blackhawks 2, the Maple Leafs 1. Back to Toronto after this on Sports Vision and WBBM. 5 minutes to go in the opening period, and Daryl Sutter's 6th of the year has put the Hawks in front 2-1. Here's Doug Wilson moving to center, sends it in. Boreas Salming gets back, put it to the far side, and it's cleared now to center ice. Here's Brad Maxwell over the line. He shot it wide. Dennis Savard is back. Now he races to center. Savard speeding over the Toronto line. Now dropped it to the trailer C-cord, but he couldn't hang on, and here come the Leafs back, but a penalty coming up here against Toronto as Maxwell got tangled with Dennis Savard. And the Hawks will get their first power play chance in a moment. It's 2-1 Chicago, back after this timeout on Sports Vision and BBMAN.
Brad Maxwell, the former Minnesota North Star and Quebec Nordique, gets the first Leaf penalty for roughing. As he got the glove right into the face of Dennis Savard and got caught by Van Hellemond. He did it right in front of Van Hellemond. The number 2 ranked power play in the league goes to work. They have 58 power play goals, the Blackhawks.
Face off right in the slot in front of the Toronto goal. Meanwhile, the Toronto penalty killing, 15th in the league. The Leafs at 75% have allowed 56 power play goals against in 49 games. Now they have trouble lining everybody up for the faceoff. Here's the draw to Doug Wilson at the far point. He rolled it in behind the net. Edwards put it to the near side. Bob Murray at the line. Along the boards for Steve Larmer. Larmer side of the net for Secord. Gave it back to Larmer. Now to the line and Murray. Bob Murray to Doug Wilson. Shoveled it across to Savard at the far point. Centered one. It's deflected in front, and the Leafs gain control. Gary Nyland clears it down all the way. Blackhawks now start back. Bob Murray lost it at center to McAdam. Gary McAdam now flipped it to the near side, and Nyland shoots it down all the way. McAdam hustling as the Leafs try to bother the Hawks in their own end. But now Doug Wilson able to spring Secord on left wing. He had not reached center before he dumped it in, but Larmer touched it first to save the icing. Now Savard on the near side. His pass is intercepted. Leafs shoot it down all the way. As the Hawks have trouble getting this power play set up. Dale mentioned the recent Chicago troubles on the power play. The Hawks in the last 10 games, 7 out of 38. Here's Troy Murray to center. He comes over the line. Lost it there. The Leafs shoot it down all the way. Ben Wilson now starts back. Time for one more power play rush for Chicago as Wilson shoots it in. On the far side, Troy Murray took a hit from McGill, but he digs it out to the line, and Ben Wilson to Brown at the near point, shoots one. It didn't get through as Daou blocked it. Now back of the goal, the Leafs control, shoot it down all the way, and that'll do it for the Hawk power play. Both teams now are back at full strength. Here's Kurt Frazier into the Toronto zone. Got around a check. Now moves for the net. Centered one. Too far for Olczyk in front, and Salming starts back. Boreas Salming over the Hawk line. Centered one. Olczyk was there to steal from 5, and he pushed it back into the Leaf zone. And this will be an icing call against the Blackhawks. The broadcast rights to this game have been granted to Sports Vision and WBBM by the Chicago Blackhawks solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any reproduction or other use of this program without the consent of Sports Vision and BBM AM is prohibited.
The Hawks get a face-off deep in their own zone. It was because of the good defensive play of Ed Olczyk. Good back-checking to intercept the pass, and then he dumped it the length of the ice to get a change of players.
Here's the draw to Rick 5, near point to Benning, shoots one. Sauvé the save, rebound. Sauvé diving to knock it away from Fergus. Now it came to the far side, held in by Salming, shoveled it back of the net. Fergus centered one. Sauvé blocked that to Patterson, and he shot it to center ice. Here's Bill Watson over the line, and Ludzik was in ahead of the play.
Dangerous moments for the Hawks. Bob Sauvé with some good goaltending and some good smart stick work to deflect the potential pass out into the deep slot to deflect it away from the potential shot from a Leaf player. Bob Fulford behind the bench. You saw a lot of ice time in this building for the Toronto Maple Leafs. 4 times he tasted champagne from the Stanley Cup with this Leaf club.
Here's the draw to the Leafs, Kotsopoulos. He feeds Dan Daoud to the line, shoots one, right on. Sauvé gloves that, and he's going to hold on.
Well, one thing we're becoming familiar with is Bob Sauvé hanging on to the puck whenever he sees there might be some potential trouble or extra traffic around. He just hangs on and gets a face-off to slow things down and get the Hawks settled down and reorganized.
Well, don't forget, Monday night will be the start of our Hawk Talk show on WBBM, originating from the Ultimate Sports Bar and Grill. It will be from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock every Monday night for the remainder of the hockey season. Rich King and myself will be on hand, and our opening guest this Monday night will be the senior member of this Blackhawk team, Bob Murray. So if you're in the neighborhood, come on by the Ultimate Sports Bar, Monday at 7. Here's the draw, cleared into the Toronto zone. Salming is back. Boreas Salming now flips it out to center. And behind the play, we have a scrap as Secord and Benning are tangling. Oh, that's not Secord, make it Larmer. And they wrestle around.
Well, you could bet anything you own that it wasn't Secord, because Benning is not that tough of a guy as far as fighting is concerned. But Larmer, we've seen him very rarely in fisticuffs. Benning was flailing away, but Larmer was in close to him, and no damage was done.
Originally thought it might be Secord because in the opening part of this shift, he and Vive had quite a little duel along the boards on the far side, and I thought that may have exploded a bit, but that was not the case. Secord was well off the play when Larmer and Benning went at it.
Steve Larmer this year with 22 minutes in penalties. I don't think he's been in 2 fights in his whole career, maybe 3 at the most.
So the players are sent to their respective locker rooms with just over a minute left in this opening period.
Oh, I can't stand the excitement in this building.
28, Steve Larmer, 2 minutes for high sticking, 2 minutes for roughing. Auto penalty to number 3, Jim Benning, 2 minutes for interference, 2 minutes for roughing. Time 18:48. For Chicago, Steve Larmer, 2 minutes high sticking, 2 minutes roughing. For Toronto, Jim Benning, 2 minutes interference, 2 minutes roughing. Time 18:48.
So coincidental double minors to the two combatants. Here's the draw shot back into the Toronto zone. Gary Nyland is back for it. Nyland bounced one to center ice. Ben Wilson has it there. Now his pass is intercepted. Here's Gary McAdam. Over the Hawk line, McAdam rolled it to the far side. Here's a shot well wide by Daou, and back comes Olczyk. And Olczyk to the Toronto zone, had it knocked away. And now finally corralled by Nyland. Nyland gave it away to Troy Murray, near side, fires! And Edwards got a piece of that. Held in by DuPont. Center, there's a shot! And Frazier's drive blocked by Kotsopoulos in front. Going in behind the net is McAdam to get it free to Terrion. Greg Terrion clears to center ice. There's 10 seconds left in the period as Olczyk turns in his own end. Flipped it to center. Nyland shoots it back into Vive. Moving in. Vive the shot. Shot it wide just as the horn sounds here in Toronto to end the period. So in the opening period, Chicago's Kurt Frazier scored his 16th of the year from Ed Olczyk at the 5:17 mark to put the Blackhawks in front. But Toronto got it back with a power play goal from Rick Vive, assisted by Tom Fergus and Marion Stosny at 14:03. But the Blackhawks came right back just half a minute later. Darryl Sutter's 6th of the year, assisted by Brown and Lysiak at 14:39 completes the scoring. The Leafs had 13 shots in that period, and the Blackhawks 11. Chicago 2, Toronto 1 as we get set to start the second period here in Maple Leaf Gardens. Before we do, a reminder about the Kennard Blackhawks Caribbean Cruise coming up June 28th through July the 5th. If you're thinking about taking a cruise, come on along with the Blackhawks. And to get more information in-state, call 498-4470. If you're out of state and you'd like to know about it, the number to call 1-800-423-4817. And also we'll mention the upcoming Blackhawks standbys 42nd annual trophy banquet. All the Blackhawks players and their wives will be on hand. It'll be held March the 3rd, Monday night. And for information, you can call this number 456-3600. Ask for room 102. 456-3600, room 102 for information on the standbys trophy banquet, March the 3rd. Bob Sauvé down to our right for Chicago. Don Edwards to our left for Toronto. Leafs outshot the Hawks 13-11 in the first, but the Blackhawks lead 2-1.
The last time the second period was an exciting one, to say the least. There were 7 goals scored in the period. Hawks trailed 3-0, fought back, made it 3-2. Leafs pulled ahead 5-2. Blackhawks made it 5-3. And they made it 5-4 on Frazier's 12th, and then Fergus made it 6-4, and that was the end of the scoring.
Here's the draw into the Toronto zone. Nyland along the far side to Wendell Clark, who shot it to center. And now Maxwell flipped it into the seats.
Dan Maloney, the former Blackhawk, former Los Angeles King, former Toronto Maple Leaf, he's under the gun. Some people saying that win over Washington the other night saved his job or prolonged it. The Leafs had lost 7 in a row, and there was some talk that Maloney, if they hadn't have beaten Washington, would have been out of a job.
Here's the draw taken by the Leafs. Gary Nyland shooting it in. Doug Wilson put it to the near side. Secord deflected to center, and the Leafs come back in offside. Well, far be it for me to determine whether or not Dan Maloney is doing a good job, Dale, but this has got to be a pretty difficult situation to walk into with this club.
13 wins, 31 losses, and 5 ties.
A rather thankless job over the years it's been here in Toronto, the last decade or so. Here's a shot, they score off the, hit the goalpost. Let's see, referee Van Helleman is, what's he doing? Pointing to the circle as if it was pointing for a face-off. A shot from the near circle from Wendell Clark. After Sauve seemed to get caught in no man's land, I did not see the red light go on.
Well, you can't relax here if the puck misses the net because the boards are so lively. The puck has a tendency to come right back in front. If it just even misses the net, it comes straight back out.
Now referee Van Helleman he comes over to the scorer's table on the near side.
Take a look at it here. The shot coming off the end board. Sauve out of the net. He was going to play it, but decided not to. Was caught in no man's land. Clark with the left-handed shot, let it go to the stick side, hit the goal post, and came right back out. It did not cross the line. So the goal judge made the right call by not putting the light on. The Leafs arguing, but the puck did not enter the net. As clearly seen on the replay. He's got radar vision in that guy behind there with the light.
Here come the Leafs again. A shot deflects off the glass. Rebound just bounced away from Steve Thomas in front. Here comes Savard racing back. Savard over the line, cuts to the far side, shoots. Blocked by Nyland in the Toronto zone. Now cleared to the near side. Steve Thomas flipped it not out. Savard holds it in. Now had it knocked away, but O'Callahan tries to hold it. He's knocked down. Here come the Leafs 2-on-1. Over the line, Courtnall far side, fires. Sauve the save, and he covers it up.
We talked about Wendell Clark, the first round pick of the Toronto Maple Leafs. A throwback to the olden days, a hard-hitting, bruising left winger with a crunching check on Jack O'Callahan deep in the Toronto zone, and that forced the play. Good hard hit right there, and bang, O'Callahan really hit hard. Courtnall picked it up, came down in a 2-on-1, faked to the open guy and shot himself.
Wendell Clark, the #1 choice overall in the draft this year. Clark with 16 goals in 35 games for the Leafs, but only 7 assists.
Got to work on his playmaking.
Quite an eventful shift for him. He missed scoring a goal by an inch, rattling one off the post, and then created a chance by knocking O'Callahan off the play and allowing his teammates to get a 2-on-1 break. But Sauve shut the door. Face off to the right of the Hawk goal. Now Fergus tossed out of there, so Vive comes in against Lysiak. There's the draw to the far side. Ben Wilson rings it around to the near board. Taken by Darryl Sutter. Couldn't get it out. Salming a long shot. Sauve through a screen, made the save. Rebound, Stosny, the corner center. One bouncing puck in front. Lysiak able to tie up the stick of Fergus, who couldn't get off a shot, and the Hawks able to clear it back to the Leaf line. Now at center, DuPont gave it to Ben Wilson. His feed broken up by Stosny, stepping into the Hawk zone, dropped it to Vive. Then Lysiak picked his pocket and shot it into the Toronto end. Boreas Salming shoots it out to the far side. Whoa, linesman Jerry Pateman indicated the safe sign that Bob Murray held it in, but the other linesman said no. And with a score, the Blackhawks 2, the Maple Leafs 1 early in the second. Back after this on Sports Vision and WBBM.
Bob Pulford arguing with the referee. A penalty called against the Blackhawks as Bob Murray jumped over the boards to try and keep the puck in on a player change. And the referee is saying that he jumped prematurely and forced too many men on the ice. And the Hawks short-handed for the 3rd time in the hockey game.
The penalty will be served by number 27, Darryl Sutter.
To the face-off outside the Toronto line. There's the draw, taken by the Leafs. Brad Maxwell, back of his own goal. Now moves away. Maxwell to center. He'll shoot it in. Sauve back of the net, shovel it to the far side. Troy Murray bumped in the corner. Leafs hold it in, clear it to the near side. Olczyk after it. He bounced one to DuPont, and he clears it to the Toronto line. Here's Salming retreating back of his own net. Now Rick Vive moves to center. Vive put it over the line. Fergus rubbed off by DuPont nicely. Troy Murray got it to Olczyk, clears it down all the way. Now Maxwell to Tom Fergus. Fergus back to Maxwell, coming over the Hawk line. Left it for Stastny, knocked away from him by Ludzik. Back to center ice. In his own end, Preacher on the far side. Gave it to Salming. Boreas Salming rolled it to Tom Fergus over the Hawk line. Fergus crosses to the near side, put it to the corner. Centering pass, shot wide by Preacher. Podubny put it in front, but the deflection just missed the far post. Now coming into the near corner, Ludzik bumping with Podubny. A couple of players join in. DuPont jams it free, fires it down all the way. And only 20 seconds left now on the Leaf power play. Now Walt Podubny on left wing. Comes over the line, lost it there, and the Hawks clear to center ice. Leafs dump it back in. Taken by Doug Wilson, picks the opening, and he shoots it down all the way. That'll do it for the Chicago penalty. It's over now, and both teams are back at full strength. Now Walt Podubny cleared it to Preacher. Four-Inachek over the line. Back to Preacher near circle. Knocked away from him by Doug Wilson. Sutter took a whack at it but couldn't clear it. They battle away along the near board. Inachek dug it out. Cuts for the net. Centered one. Sauve the save. Rebound taken by Sutter. Daryl Sutter to the near side and Lysiak. Tom Lysiak away to Brown at center. Heath Brown over the Toronto line. Waits for help. Now flips it around to the near corner. And the Leafs start back there. Preacher stopping in his own end. Tied up by Sutter, who took it away. Got it to Lysiak. Moving in. Shoot. And a save by Edwards as Lysiak went crashing into the Leaf goaltender. But the Leafs now start back. Preacher to center. He'll shoot a long one. Sauve steers that to the corner. Taken by Ben Wilson. Wilson with plenty of room to center. Sends it in. The race is on, and a diving play by Salmi to knock it from Troy Murray, but here's Watson, a shot. Blocked, rebound. Cleared in behind the net. Watson trying to dig it out. Bill Watson got it loose to Secord in the corner. Now Secord back to Watson to the line. Ben Wilson's shot is blocked. The race is on. Wendell Clark might have a break. Racing over the line, cuts in, shoots. Sauve the save. Rebound. Came free, and DuPont tied up his man. Sauve diving headlong all the way to the corner to freeze it. A lot of action in the last few moments. It's 2-1 Chicago with 14.5 for the second. Back after this on Sports Vision and WBBM.
Ben Wilson trying to shoot it through two Leaf players. Finally intercepted by Clark. Tries to pull away, gets the shot. Sauve made an excellent save on Clark, who's had a good second period.
Here's Doug Wilson deep in his own end. Slipped it nicely to Savard. Dennis Savard bumped his center. The Leafs starts back. Here's Clark over the line. Shoot! He fired it wide. Rebound of O'Callahan. He flipped it to center ice. Here's Al Secord to Larmer over the line. Back to Secord, but Steve Thomas broke up the play. Couldn't get it out. O'Callahan bounced one to Savard far side for Doug Wilson. A centering pass. Now we got a fight in the slot. Secord battles with Bob McGill, it appears, as they wrestle to the ice. Well, what's this about the second shift of the game for McGill, I believe. As he and Secord get into a battle. And now the linesmen get in there. There did not appear to be a whole lot of punching done. It was more a wrestling match, and now they're separated. 14 minutes for the second period. Chicago 2, Toronto 1. Back after this timeout on Sports Vision and WBBM.
Al Secord and Bob McGill both in the penalty box. 5-minute penalty for Secord, and a 2-minute high sticking and a 5-minute fighting penalty to Bob McGill. So the Blackhawks will have a power play, but they lose the services of Secord for 5 minutes. The Leafs, I'm sure, are probably glad of that. They get a 1-goal scorer in the penalty box and a 25-goal scorer in the penalty box. Nice trade-off. The shot coming in from Doug Wilson, the stick got up on Secord. Secord took exception to it, and the gloves came flying off.
Bob McGill's statistics now reading 42 games, 1 goal, 3 assists, 102 penalty minutes.
Well, the old standby, like the speedometer on a new car.
Face off to the right of Edwards as the Blackhawks try to get the power play going. Now they're ready. Here's the draw. Troy Murray got it to Ben Wilson at the near point. On the boards for Murray. Murray near side. Now tries to move in, put it to the side of the net. Edwards will glove it there and hang on for a whistle.
Well, Troy Murray tried to work the give and go with Fraser. The pass missed Fraser. It banked off the boards, the lively boards here at the Gardens, and it came right back to him. But Edwards dove in front and made sure that Troy Murray could not advance any further.
Face off to the right of Edwards again. Murray tossed out of the draw. So 2 Chicago-born boys, Olczyk and Tom Fergus for the draw. Olczyk got it. On the near side, Olczyk put it to the line. Ben Wilson, far point to Brown. Shoots one. Deflected up over the glass and into the crowd.
Steve Brown's attempt as he was ready to shoot the puck went right up on its edge. Did a good job of keeping it low. Troy Murray was stationed just to the left of Edwards. I don't think he was able to deflect it. Edwards got the stick on it and deflected it himself.
By the way, Brown the other night in the stadium, you may remember, got hit in the head as he was in the slot. He was hit in the head with a shot. We thought he had been cut on the forehead with all the blood that appeared there. He was actually cut on the top of his head. That puck, Brown was hardly happy with his helmet at the end of that game. He took several stitches right on the top of his head, which you would figure ought to be well protected. But here's now Brown at the far point. Gave it to Olczyk. Shoots one. Right through the crease it went. Held in by Ben Wilson at the line. Wilson near side across for Brown. Here it comes. And a save by Edwards. Rebound in the Leafs. Kotsopoulos shoots it down all the way. Keith Brown now starts the Blackhawks back with a minute to go on the Hawk power play. Now Troy Murray over the line, but the Hawks rule to be offside on the play.
A minute gone by in the power play. Nothing's developed, so they change players, get another group out there. This time, the second half of the power play will feature Darryl Sutter on the left wing as Secord is in the penalty box. He'll be on the left side with Savard and Steve Larmer.
Where are we? Tipperary?
It's a long way to Tipperary.
I think that's what they're playing here on the organ. Here's the draw, and the Leafs shoot it down all the way. All-star Doug Wilson is back. He'll be starting for the Campbell Conference squad. Feeds another all-star, Savard to center. Dennis Savard over the line. Dropped it for Wilson, moving and shooting. He scores! Doug Wilson, a 50-footer. He blew it by the stick side of Edwards. 3-1 Chicago.
Well, that puck was a little bit behind him, too, and I don't think he got all of it. But the fact that the puck was just a bit behind him forced him to shoot it low. Savard comes in, the both defensemen back off, Nice drop pass on his forehand to Doug Wilson, who picks it up. It's behind him a little bit and close to his feet, but the low, hard one to the stick side. Edwards leaning a bit to his left, and he was beaten to his right.
Doug Wilson scoring his 11th of the year from Savard on the power play at 7:30. And the Blackhawks have increased it to a 3-1 lead.
Three Leaf players, the defensemen both back off. Everyone's keying on Savard. How much room Doug Wilson has as he steps into it and lets a wicked shot go. Dougie Wilson now with 6 goals and 20 points in his last 23 hockey games.
There's the draw now, controlled by the Leafs. Salming in his own end. Boreas Salming gave it to Jim Benning. Benning shooting it in. Over to the far side goes Podubny to the corner. Patterson had the clamps on him. Puck bounced loose to Freacher. He rolled it in behind the net. In a check. Tied up. Bergevin took it away nicely. And the Hawks able to clear it to center ice. Bouncing loose there to Ludzik. He moves over the line. Ludzik rolled it to Watson. And then a sliding move from Salming to poke it away. Boreas Salming scoops it back into the Chicago end. Rick Patterson will have to chase it down. Patterson's pass missing everybody. Slides into the Leaf zone. And here comes Salming for Toronto. Preacher's lead broken up at center. Then the Leafs get to it. Preacher over the Hawk line lost the handle. And it's cleared to the Toronto line. Here's Gary Nyland. His pass bounced loose to DuPont. But then the Leafs able to shoot one in. There's Jerome DuPont moving to center ice and shoots one in. Gary Nyland gets back for the Leafs. Put it around the boards to Vive on the near side. And he pushed it out to center ice. Back in his own end, Jerome DuPont. DuPont on the far side, got it loose to Lysiak. He feeds Brown to center. Heath Brown motors over the line, left it for Sutter, centered one, knocked away from Lysiak in front, but Sutter got it back. Centered again, a shot, and it's deflected actually wide as Edwards intercepted the pass intended for Lysiak. Now the Leafs start back. And Stosny moved in. Vive was offside. 10.5 to go in the second. 3-1 Chicago. Back after this on Sports Vision and WBBM. Let's take 10 for identification. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
You're watching the station that brings you the Blackhawks, the Bulls, the White Sox, and the Sting. Sports Vision.
There's the draw cleared into the Toronto zone. Russ Courtnall jammed it loose to Wendell Clark. Back to Courtnall at center. He gains the Hawks line, shoots one, and a stand-up save by Sauvé. Rebound to the far side, came loose to Doug Wilson, and he put it on Troy Murray's stick. Now the Hawks shoot one in. Courtnall back. Courtnall tied up. Puck came free to the near side, held in by Doug Wilson. Center one. Olczyk tried to kick it toward the net. Now in behind is Frazier. Centered one, and Edwards blocked that. Taken by O'Callaghan, a shot. He shot it wide to the near side. Doug Wilson held it in. To Olczyk in behind, centering, and Clark was there to seal that. Wendell Clark over the Hawk line. Lost it to O'Callaghan, who feeds to center. Here's Olczyk over the line. Banked it off the boards of Frazier. And then his pass intercepted. Cleared down into the Blackhawk zone. Hawks flip it back into the Leaf end. Edwards put it to the near side. Steve Thomas ahead to Peter Inachek. Inachek over the line. Scoots in behind the net. Now got it into the corner. Inachek in behind. Now Podubny is tied up there. They battled it loose, and Podubny knocked down. Here come the Hawks 3-on-2. Savard gains the line, feeding Larmer, moving right in, stopping, and then he lost it. Hawks had a 3-on-2, but Larmer reluctant to shoot and then lost the handle on it. Now it's cleared back into the lead zone. Savard tried to center, bouncing around in the slot, and finally the Leafs came up with it. Here's Preacher feeding Salming over the line. Boreas Salming cuts for the net. Nearly got around Bergevin. Now it bounces loose to Nyland. He shot it behind the Hawk goal. Podubny's pass kicked loose by Larmer. Out to center. Here's a 2-on-1. Savard over the line with Watson. Moving in, gave it to him. Watson, a shot deflected by Kotsopoulos into the crowd.
Steve Larmer springing the Hawks on a 2-on-1 as he poked it by the defenseman inside the Hawks zone. Bill Watson did the right thing. He backed off. He didn't do as normal people do on a 2-on-1, go right to the net and make the defenseman stay in the middle. He backed off, giving Savard an outlet. He got the pass to him, but then Watson, as he was looking for a hole, took a little too much time and allowed Kotsopoulos to get in front of the shot. Tomorrow on Sports Vision, join Jim Durham and Johnny Kerr as the Bulls take on the Indiana Pacers at 1:30 live from Market Square Arena. And following that game, stay tuned at 4 o'clock for the Bulls Old Timers. That's tomorrow on Sports Vision. And a reminder, start your mornings off right with John Hultman and Felicia Middlebrooks on BBM AM, 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. weekday morning.
And remember also that tomorrow a rematch of these two teams in Chicago Stadium, the first of the Sunday matinee games. Tomorrow afternoon, it's a 1:30 start tomorrow for the Blackhawks in Toronto, meaning we'll be on the air with a 1:20 pregame show on BBM AM for the Blackhawks and the Maple Leafs. Radio only tomorrow. And then on Wednesday night, the New York Islanders come into town. And will be radio and television that night.
That should be a good hockey game. Both games this year at the Island have been excellent games. The Hawks winning one and tying one. Islanders won this afternoon, knocking off the Penguins 4-3. They're only 4 points behind the Capitals.
There's a draw to Chris Kotsopoulos, who got it out to center ice. Then Fergus shoveled it in. Troy Murray back. Murray took a hit but cleared it to the near side. Kotsopoulos tries to keep it in and did. Now they scramble away along the boards. And Troy Murray wants to freeze it, and he does.
Rick Five, the captain of this hockey club. Boy, a lot of teams interested in acquiring this man's services. Funny, when you're down in the bottom, teams wanting to pluck your best players, and they want to give you nothing. Usually want to give you a pork chop for a pig.
Face-off will be to the left of Sauvé. There's the draw to Ben Wilson. He put it to the right wing boards. Olczyk. Bounce one out to center. Now back to Wilson in his own end. He flips it. Now here goes Wilson and Wendell Clark. They had a little joust, and now Wendell Clark, two left hands on Wilson. Back to their feet, and Clark, three right hands on Ben Wilson. Now Ben tries to get a right hand or two in. And they're hammering away at one another. Wendell Clark, a hard-nosed rookie, and now he's got the right hand free. Wilson got in a big right there. Wilson's jersey has been pulled right over his head as Ben Wilson and Wendell Clark are standing toe-to-toe and slugging it out.
Well, the longer the fight goes on, the better Wilson becomes. Clark got in a couple early, surprising Ben Wilson. But as it progressed, Wilson got some real solid shots in there. But Clark, for a rookie, he's not afraid of anyone. He's been tangling with anyone in the league who wants to go. Boy, the best fight of the year.
So the players having gained a little more respect for one another, now head to the penalty boxes at Chicago 3, Toronto 1. Back after this on Sports Vision and WBBM.
Well, a lot of people ask me if those fights are fixed or if they're just put on. Well, I'd like to show that one to everyone who doubts those. I'll tell you, if they were fixed, I would have been in a lot more of them.
Here's the draw to Rick Vive over the line. Fires, hit the goal post. Rebound to the near side. Secord clears the center. Larmer beating Savard over the line. Cuts for the net. Shoots. He scores! Rick Vive hits the post at one end. The Hawks on the counterattack bring Savard, who scores to make it 4-1 Chicago.
Well, Edwards getting beat on a weak shot to the glove side. He just blew the shot. But Vive blasted one off the short side post. It came right out behind Sauve. Savard comes back the other way, and the shot through the legs that hit the left heel of the skate blade of Edwards. But at the other end, talk about a break. It's twice that the Leafs have hit goalposts in this period. Twice that Sauve was beaten on both the shots, one by Clark and one by Vive. And then right at the other end, Savard. That's the difference between the Hawks and other clubs. They have a Dennis Savard who can turn things around in a hurry, go from end to end to change the game around.
35th goal of the year for Dennis Savard. Larmer and Secord assisting at the 13-minute mark. Boy, oh boy, game of inches, I guess. What could have been a 3-2 score is a 4-1 score in a matter of seconds. Here's the draw. Now cleared to center ice. They battle away on the near side. Maxwell flipped it down into the Blackhawks zone. Sauve bounced it right back to center. Fergus is there. Gave it to Maxwell, who handed it right to Doug Wilson in his own zone. Wilson put it to the near side. Olczyk motoring back to center. Now sends it in. Hawks completing a player change as the Leafs start back. Here's Preacher. Shoots a long lead, stolen by Lysiak. He flipped it ahead for Sutter over the line. The shot sails wide. Bob Murray a long drive and a save by Edwards, and he holds on.
Well, that shot by Bob Murray looked like it might have gone wide, but Edwards was giving up two questionable goals in this period. He gave up a long shot to Doug Wilson's 11th and made it 3-1 after Clark hit the goalpost to tie the game in the opening moments of the second period. And then the Savard goal, I don't think he played it very well. As Savard with a weak shot to the glove side. Edwards, I don't think, made a very good attempt at it after Rick Vive hit the post.
Face-off will be to the left of the Toronto goal. 6 minutes to go in the second. Blackhawks leading 4-1 as Lysiak gets ready with Fergus. Fergus won the draw. Taken by Benning. Ahead to Preacher, who fell down. Now Sutter scoops it back in. Puck to the near corner. Lysiak shoots one. Edwards the save as the Leafs coughed it up, and Lysiak fired quickly, but Edwards made the stop.
Good hustle by Lysiak right there, who scored his one goal against the Rangers the other night. It turned out to be a big one, as the intercepted a Van Beesbrook clearing attempt, but that time again he pounced on it, let the quick shot go. Edwards had to be alert with the glove hand.
Some of the gendarmes have been called into an area where there's been a little bit of a beef. They've just tossed a few people out that seem to be sitting right next to where Ben Wilson is in the penalty box. There may have been a little scrap going on there. Here's the draw, controlled by the Leafs, and it's cleared to the Chicago line. Now along the near side, kick free to Vive. He tries to move in, fought off a DuPont check. Then Lysiak bumped him, but Vive still battles in. Got it in behind the net. Centering pass stolen by Sutter, but he couldn't get it out. Now he does on his second whack. Sutter cleared it to center. Here's Boreas Salmi. Gave it to Benning, now gets it back. Salming to center for Vive. He's tied up along the board. Now DuPont shooting it into the Toronto zone as Benning goes back for the lead. Jim Benning into the near corner. Bounce one ahead to Courtnall. Couldn't get it out. Doug Wilson to the deep slot. Threw it to the far side. Savard in behind the net. Centered one. Edwards blocked that. Rebound to Courtnall. And Russ Courtnall moves to center ice. Carries it over the Hawk line. And O'Callahan played the body all the way and knocked him head over heels. Hawks clear it, but not out. Yes, it did come free as Kotsopoulos failed to hold it in, and now the Leafs are back in offside. 4 minutes to go in the second. It's 4-1 Chicago. Back after this on Sports Vision and BBMAM. Pat Foley and Dale Talon back in Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto, where the Hawks have a 4-1 lead over the Leafs as we get late into the second period. Here's Jack O'Callahan behind his own net. He clears it out to center. Gary Nyland lost it there to Larmer, and then his pass just missed Savard, who might have been in. Kotsopoulos starts the Leafs back to McAdam. Now Steve Thomas over the line to McAdam. He tries to center. Sauvé blocking that, and he'll hug it on the far post and get a whistle.
Gary McAdam has great wheels. McAdam breaking in on the left side, was angled off in behind the net, tried to just get it out front and almost hit Sauvé's skate and went in behind him as he was pulling away from the post. Gary McAdam has got the $1 million legs and the 5-cent hands.
Which is why he's been as well-traveled as he has been. He'll probably go around the world a couple of times if he's got that mileage plus deal. Face off to the right of Sauvé. There's the draw. Now, Troy Murray fell on top of it, wanting a whistle, and it was a bit late in coming, but now it sounds.
I'm not going to say anything.
Face-off will be to the right of the Blackhawk goal. Lysiak's line now on there. Against the Janacek line. Here's the draw. Taken by Benning, a shot. That's deflected wide. Taken now by DuPont, and he shot it to center ice. Preacher rolls it back into Chicago territory. Bob Murray put it to the near side. DuPont to Sutter, who cleared to center ice. Now the Leafs shoot it right back in. Here's Bob Murray to Jerome DuPont. His feed for Lysiak, who springs Brown on right wing. Brown races over the line, now turns. Centered one, Lysiak right in. The shot, and a save by Edwards as it nearly snuck underneath his pad, but he stopped it at the last moment.
Tom Lysiak, Sutter, and Brown out there against Preacher and Janacek and Podubny. Janacek and Preacher have great skills offensively, but neither one of them could check their hat. And the Blackhawks are getting a lot of scoring chances against that line. Tom Lysiak with a good chance. Faked, waited, and tried to put it through the legs of Edwards as he moved across. And the puck almost trickled through the legs of Edwards into the net. Lysiak with some good chances in this second period.
He's had a couple of strong games the last few outings. Rounding back into game shape after a long layoff with that foot problem. Face-off here will be to the right of Edwards. A little murmur among the crowd as the scoreboard shows that former Leaf Billy Derlego just scored a goal tonight for Winnipeg.
He'll help Winnipeg, Derlego. He's a good player. Going back to his native land, too. He played, I think he resides in Brandon, Manitoba, not too far from Winnipeg.
Here's the draw. Cleared to center ice. Rick Vive over the line. Shoots one. Solvay just got a piece. Rebound. And Stosny shot it wide. Out to the near side. Taken by O'Callahan. O'Callahan got it to Olczyk, and he dribbled it just outside the line. The Leafs unable to hold it in the offside call.
Well, it appears to me that Rick Vive is rounding himself back into shape. It seems that that hand is probably back to normal because he's been shooting the puck with some authority in this game. That last shot, Solvay had some difficulty with the long wrist shot.
Rather amazing to note that Rick Vive, even though he's missed 17 games for Toronto, is right up among the shots on goal leaders for this club. He's not afraid to tee it up at any opportunity. Here's Salming at the near point. Shoots blocked at the defense, didn't get through. And Karam's back into the Toronto zone. Gary Nyland is back. Nyland clearing to center ice, and Fergus scoops it in. Going to the far corner, Stosny poked it loose to Vive in behind. His pass intercepted by Dupont, who shot it by everybody down into the Toronto zone. Taken by Nyland with 2 minutes left to go in the period. There's a puck shot into the Hawk end. Here's the offside call as Steve Thomas touched it first.
Well, that's be a very disillusioned Toronto Maple Leaf Hockey Club because they've hit 2 goalposts when the game was close. On each occasion, the Hawks came back and scored against Donnie Edwards, who really didn't have a very good second period. On both those goals, he was at fault on. And instead of being maybe a Toronto lead or a tie hockey game, Chicago has a 3-goal lead.
This is the first time Edwards has played against the Blackhawks this year. In both previous Toronto victories, Tim Bernhardt had been the Leaf goaltender, but he's injured at the moment. And so Edwards getting the call and having a less than spectacular night. Here's Jack O'Callahan, shot deflecting wide, rebound in front. Larmer had it at his feet, couldn't pull the trigger. Steve Thomas motors back to center, then lost it to Secor. He flipped it to the Leaf line. Chris Kotsopoulos to Thomas. And he flips it to Russ Courtnall, turning in his own end. Now Benning. Jim Benning works his way to center and then shoots it in. O'Callahan bumped in behind the net. Thomas dug it out in the near corner. Centered one. A scramble in front. Clark rolled it in the slot. Too far for Benning. Rebound in front. Thomas lost it. And the Hawks clear it to center. Here's Savard stealing from Clark. And then Savard fell down, or he might have had a break. There's Jack O'Callahan. His pass hit Savard. Bounced right to Courtnall over the line. He tries to center and handed it right to Savard. Ahead to Larmer. Steve Larmer over the line for Secor. The drive and a save by Edwards. And the rebound to the Leafs, Nyland. We're in the final minute of the period as Gary Nyland shoots it into the Blackhawks zone. Bergevin chops it to Secor on the near side. He rings it around the boards to Keith Brown on right wing. His pass sliding into the Leaf end. Taken by Salming, who dives to clear it ahead to Inachek. Peter Inachek over the Hawk line. Dropped it along the boards. Freacher had it poked away by Sutter, who pushed it to center ice. 15 seconds left in the period as the Leafs shoot one in. On the far side, Brown got it to Lysiak. Tom Lysiak, 3 seconds left, in over the line. He lost the handle as he tried to move around Salming. And the buzzer sounds to end the period. The second period featured 2 Blackhawk goals. The first, the Doug Wilson power play tally, his 11th of the year from Savard at 7:30. And then Savard himself scored his 35th of the year from Larmer and Secord at the 13-minute mark. The Maple Leafs had 7 shots in that second period, while the Blackhawks had 9. And after 40 minutes, each team with 20 total shots on goal.
Yeah, I'm pretty shy, I guess.
you know, I like going to the game, doing the job, whatever, and, you know, if we win, that's great. You know, if we lose, I take it pretty hard, so I don't really like talking about it after the games, you know. If we win, it's fine, but if we lose, there's no way, you know. All that's going through my mind is, you know, why we lost, what can we do to improve, or what did I do wrong. So I more or less like to get away right after the game and, you know, and go think about what happened during it.
He's not a rah-rah type of guy, but he's there and he leads by example. He's a lot like a Daryl Sutter in the way that we feel bad if we don't play the way that he's playing, because he's out there trying as hard as he can every shift and in every game. And you know, if the rest of the team's not playing that way, we feel bad, and we look at Kurt, and you know, he gives us a little bit of extra boost.
When they put us together last year, Troy Murray and Ed Olchak and myself, last year at the beginning of the year, things just started to go right away. You know, we seem to play together well, and everything. You know, we know what each other's going to do. We play the same style. You know, we like to get in there and grind and work hard. Mostly, that's our line goes, because we work hard, and you know, we can shut down their big line, plus maybe add a few goals once in a while. You know, that allows our other lines, Savard and them, to really get a lot, you know, get the jump on teams and pop a few goals.
Kurt Fraser began his NHL career in 1978 with Vancouver. His consistent play alongside Thomas Gradin and Stan Smeel became well known on the West Coast. And together, they led the Canucks to the 1982 Stanley Cup Final. But then in January of 1983, he was traded to the Chicago Blackhawks for Tony Tanti.
Chicago at that time was in first place in the whole league. And, you know, when they said Chicago, you've been traded to Chicago, it was just a, you know, it was a feeling more of, well, you know, if there's anything good about this getting traded, I was getting traded to a team with the nicest uniforms, and at that time, the best team in the league. And I thought this was going to be great. So I went right into it with a, you know, good, you know, try to go into it with the best, I don't know, attitude that I could.
But after arriving in Chicago, his performance was very disappointing. Not only in the scoring department, his aggressiveness had disappeared, his energy non-existent. Only a week after the season was over, the reason surfaced. Kurt Fraser had diabetes.
You know, I just ended up going, you know, starting over kind of thing again. That summer I spent most of the time learning about what I had to do to change my routine during the days, and how to take insulin, how to keep track of everything, how to use a glucoscan meter, everything that would allow me to play again. And I was more confused than anything. You know, I was a healthy person. I had been playing hockey all my life. I never ate sweets, or you know, I wasn't a big drinker or anything like that. And you know, and I became a diabetic. So you know, right off that, I found, you know, it doesn't pick favorites, whatever. And so when I got to be a couple years into it, I had experimented a bit, and I got to learn a lot about it. I got involved with the Canadian Diabetic Association in Vancouver, and I think it's great, you know, getting out and meeting the kids mostly, and you know, just showing, you know, people ask me what I do to, you know, how I can manage to play in the NHL and stuff like that, and you know, it helps them out too.
Support for Fraser came from two key people, including the game's most publicized diabetic, Bobby Clarke.
Bobby Clarke, when I first became a diabetic, he really helped me out. We got in touch with each other, and instead of having to go through all the experimental stages I would have had to go through the games and practices and that, he eliminated that by telling me what he did, and that just, you know, boosted me right up, and it eliminated a lot of the problems along the way.
There was also encouragement from Bob Pulford.
When diabetes became aware, and I called him up and told him that I had been diagnosed as a diabetic, and that it didn't bother him a bit. He says, well, just get things straightened around and come to camp and, you know, fit and ready to go. And, you know, it was great. You know, I really appreciate him for giving me a chance, you know, not thinking, oh, there might be something wrong or something. He didn't have any, showed lots of confidence, and that probably helped me through that stage, too.
Through it all, Kurt Fraser's attitude has reflected everything positive the game should, even during some trying times.
You're a different person than you are. You're two different people. One, you go out there and play the game hard, and after the game, you relax and try and think about fishing.
We get started with the third period. Here's the draw taken by Troy Murray into the Toronto zone. Murray, the shot, he scores! Troy Murray from the top of the near circle as Edwards looked to be ducking out of the way. It's 5-1 Chicago after only 13 seconds of the period.
Well, Troy Murray with a wicked blast, but still he shouldn't score from there. And the last 3 goals, really goals that Edwards misplayed. Troy Murray going away from the net at the top of the circle. The blast to the stick side. Edwards looked like he flinched on it.
And number 23,
Looked like he was puck shy.
13 seconds.
And with that goal, Dan Maloney changing goaltenders. Looks like the youngster Alan Bester.
That gives Troy Murray the 30-goal plateau. Troy Murray's 30th from Olczyk and Ben Wilson after only 13 seconds. And you mentioned Alan Bester, who just recently came up from St. Catharines with the injury to Bernhardt. Bester is called on to move in between the pipes for Toronto as a rather disconsolate Edwards stormed, it seemed, over to the Toronto dressing room.
Well, he almost tripped on his lower lip as he was going to the locker room.
Well, Alan Bester will be seeing his first action of the year in the National Hockey League. He's played with Toronto before, but not this season, as he's been in St. Catharines for the year up to this point. Be a part of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Call Mildred at 943-7000. That's Mildred at 943-7000. You can guarantee yourself Blackhawks playoff tickets. And you may be seeing a preview of the first round of the playoffs if things hold true to form. Toronto in 4th place, in Detroit struggling, and last night losing one of their big guns, Steve Yzerman, for a month and a half as Yzerman separated his shoulder. So the Red Wings are in big trouble. So are the Leafs here tonight. The Hawks lead them 5-1. Here's the draw. Bouncing around over the Leaf line. Olczyk far side, moves in, centered it, and they score! Troy Murray tipped it in. Murray with 2 quick goals to start the 3rd period. 6-1 Chicago.
Great pass from Ed Olczyk after Kurt Fraser with a good effort to bring Olczyk down the left side. He dove to bank it off the boards to get it by the Leaf player. Olczyk streaks in on the left side. A nice feather pass over the stick of the defenseman, right onto the stick of Troy Murray. All he has to do is deflect it past Bester.
And number 16 is
Olczyk and Fraser assisting Troy Murray, who now has 31 for the year and 2 goals in 28 seconds for Troy Murray and the Blackhawks. So a rather rude greeting to Alan Bester, who doesn't even last a half a minute in his debut for the year with Toronto before getting scored on. Here's the draw taken by Tom Fergus as the Leafs finally get it into the Hawk zone, but Stastny stepped in offside.
We mentioned that the Troy Murray, Kurt Fraser, and Ed Olczyk line really coming together in that last game against the Rangers. Well, what a night they've been having. Fraser started things off for the 16th of the year, made it 1-0. Olczyk in this game has 3 assists. Troy Murray has 2 goals. Fraser has a goal and an assist.
Now the draw to the Leafs, Salming shooting it in. On the near side, Ben Wilson tied up on the boards, but it slides free to center. Taken by Salming. Then he gave it right back to Ben Wilson. He flipped it into the Toronto zone. Benning going back. Jim Benning gave it away to Olczyk. Right and shoot. Missed the net. He had Bester beaten on that hard one, but just missed the top corner. Now the Hawks, Frazier tries to move back in. He's bumped by Salming. And the Hawks able to flip one in deep. Jim Benning goes back to Stastny. Marion Stastny trying to send it ahead right to O'Callaghan. Now Secor beating Larmer on the right wing boards. A long shot sails wide, rebounding to Savard. Centered one. Knocked away, but Larmer then got it back and poked away from him to center ice. There's Dennis Savard. His pass is intercepted, taken by Wendell Clark. Clark to the line, fires, and a save by Sauvé. However, the Leafs were ruled to be offside on the play anyway.
It's time to hit the ski slopes of New Hampshire as Sports Vision brings you the Peugeot Grand Prix ski races. Tune in Thursday at 9 o'clock to catch top skiers in top form as they race for the New Hampshire Cup, only on Sports Vision. And a reminder, it's informative, it's newsy, it's different. Weekday afternoons from 3 to 7, Dick Helton and Chris Krydell on BBM AM.
There's the draw shot into the Toronto end. On the near side, Wendell Clark gave it to Nyland. Gary Nyland comes to center. Bounce one over the Hawk line. Courtnall got around to check, shoot, and to save. Rebound, shot wide by Thomas. Now taken by Larmer, and he cleared it back into the Leaf zone. Gary Nyland back for Toronto. Shoots it ahead to Russ Courtnall. Courtnall to the Hawk line, and Clark was offside on the play. Early in the third period, Chicago 6, Toronto 1. Back after this timeout on Sports Vision and WBBM. Face-off coming just outside the Chicago line as the Hawks have put a major damper on any Toronto hopes in this game by scoring twice in the first minute of the third period. And now lead by 5 goals. Chicago does. Here's the draw. Taken by the Leafs. Preacher coming to the Hawk line. Now to the near side. He shot it in behind the goal. Bergevin battles away there. It's stolen a shot and a save rebound. Another save rebound. They score. Big scramble around the Hawk goal. So they stopped 2 or 3 Toronto shots before it was finally banged in. And now it's a 6-2 Chicago lead.
Bergevin in behind the net as 2 Leaf players are hacking away at it. Bob Murray comes in. The first shot by Preacher, the backhand shot, the second attempt. Finally, the 4th attempt by Podubny as both defensemen got their back to the play and unable to get to the loose puck.
Inachek and Preacher assisting Podubny at 3:28. So the Hawk lead now 4. Here's the draw. Coming into the Blackhawks zone. Inachek feeding Preacher, a drive right on, and a save by Sauvé. Now Podubny far corner. Podubny had it knocked away. Salming keeps it in. Shoveled it back to the net. Inachek now tries to move in front. And it's knocked away from him. Lysiak then shoots it back into the Leaf zone. And this will be an icing call against Chicago. 16 minutes to go in the third. 6-2 Hawks. Back after this on Sports Vision and WBBM. Face-off coming to the left of Bob Sauvé. There's the draw taken by Ben Wilson. Put it around the boards to Olczyk on the near side. He failed to clear it, bouncing around in front. Now to the far corner it goes. Fergus ties up his man there. Cleared in behind the Hawk goal. They scramble. Vive dug it out. Shoots, he scores! Rick Vive. As the Hawks having trouble behind their own goal. It came loose of Vive, who jammed it in. It's now 6-3.
Well, the Hawks, I think they figured they won the game after that second goal by Troy Murray to make it 6-1, and the Leafs with all kinds of pressure. Rick Vive able to come from the side of the net after Stastny had a hack at it. Vive takes the backhand, and Sauvé, as he goes down, a hole through the legs.
Here's Fraser right and hit the goal post. Off the draw, the Hawks had a great chance, and Fraser hit the post. Now Vive back for Toronto. Centered one, just too far for Stastny in front. As the game is opened up, I'm sure to the dismay of Bob Pulford. Here's Stastny. Over the Hawk line to Vive. A long backhander blocked by Ben Wilson. Rebounding to Stosny. He centered one, and it's deflected to the line and outside the line. The Leafs come back offside. Vive's goal was assisted by Marion Stosny at 4:24. After the Hawks scored twice in a half minute to open the period, the Leafs get two back in the space of a minute. And it's a 6-3 Chicago lead.
And right after that, Kurt Fraser breaks in all alone, put the head down and blasted a slap shot. He had Bester beat, but rattled it off the post.
Here's Jim Benning back of his own net. Benning cleared it ahead to Courtnall, shooting it in. Sauve was going to play it and thought twice about it and holds on to get a whistle.
Well, those two quick goals by Podupny and Vive maybe will wake the Hawks up. They're back to that 3-goal lead, which they had to start the third period. And the way goals are scored today, you can't let up for a moment and give any team any life at all.
Draw to the left to Sauve. There it is. Now a shot, quick shot. Sauve may have gotten a piece of that drive. Taken by Doug Wilson back of the net. Tries the long breakaway pass to Savard, but it didn't click. Sliding back into the Leaf zone to Benning. Jim Benning lost it to Secord. Got it loose to Larmer for O'Callahan. Hit the side of the net. The light appeared to go on, but the play continues. And now the puck bouncing in behind the Leaf goal. Larmer jammed it loose, tried to wrap it around, and that was held off by Bester. Now Secord a shot. Deflects up off the glass. Rebounding to Courtnall. He got it to Steve Thomas. Thomas steaming into the Hog zone. Steve Thomas centered one, and that's deflected to Secord. Al Secord gets back to center ice and shoots one in. Hawks change on the move as Nyland starts back. Gary Nyland comes over the Hawk line against Bergevin. Walks in behind. Bergevin poke checks it away nicely. Lysiak then sends Brown on his way. Keith Brown over the Toronto line. Left it for Sutter. Sutter the trailer to Bergevin. He flips it into the near corner. Now back to the line, Bob Murray. His shot. That hit Brown in front, and that may have stung him a little bit. Puck back to center ice. Here come the Leafs. Over the line, Salmi trying to cut in. Bergevin knocked him down. Now the puck in behind the goal. Preacher dug it out. A scramble in the slot. Here's a shot. Kobe the save on Innichek. Now Innichek near corner. Tries to walk in front. Tied up by Bergevin. Then Lysiak took it away and couldn't get it out. Salmi holds it in for Podupny. The drive. Solvay. That nearly knocked him over the back of his feet, and he managed to gain his balance by grabbing the net. Here's Kurt Fraser trying to move in, and Bester made the short side save. Peter Innichek back for the Leafs. Lost it to Troy Murray. Murray back into the Toronto zone. Tries to walk around Maxwell. Couldn't do it. In behind the net, they all pile up, and it's held there. 12 and a half to go in the third. 6-3 Hawks. Back after this on Sports Vision and WBBM.
Alan Bester on the right, Don Edwards on the left. The dejected Don Edwards pulled after the 5th Blackhawk goal at the 13-second mark of the third period, and Alan Bester came in. 28 seconds later, the Hawks made it 6-1, but the Leafs have come back to pull within 3 with some flurries around the Blackhawk net.
Face off to the right of Alan Bester. Now they're ready. Here's the draw. Taken by Jim Benning. Benning got it to center before Troy Murray stopped him. Now Ben Wilson gave it to DuPont. He bounced one ahead to Kurt Frazier, who's tied up along the boards. Leafs dig it out. Fergus comes over the line and shoveled it behind the net. Puck cleared to the line. Benning holds it in, shoots one. That's blocked by DuPont in front. And Jerome DuPont cleared to center ice. Jim Benning sends it back in. Taken by Ben Wilson. Wilson flipped it to center. Now taken by Olczyk. And he shoots one in. Hawks changing on the move. As Gary Nyland starts back. Nyland to Courtnall, clearing it into the Hawk zone. Thomas far corner. Centered one. Bounced away from Courtnall in front. And back comes Savard. 3-on-2 if he hurries. Savard in over the line. Centered one, Larmer, and he shot it into the crowd. It's the Blackhawks 6, the Maple Leafs 3. Back after this on Sports Vision and WBBM. Faceoff coming outside the Toronto line. There's the draw. Taken by the Leafs. Kotsopoulos shot it to center. Doug Wilson flipped it right back in. Steve Thomas on the far side. Lost it to Larmer. His pass intercepted by Kotsopoulos, who cleared it to Gary Nyland. Now Nyland flipping it into the Chicago zone. And it bounces to the far side. Came loose to the corner. And now right to the goal mouth. Sauvé able to sweep it away before Steve Thomas could get to it. And the Hawks clear to center. There's Dennis Savard starting back to Larmer. Larmer over the line. Rolled it to the far corner. Secord after it there. Jammed it free to Savard. Feeding Bob Murray the drive. That hit Kotsopoulos in front. Now back of the net, Nyland. Gary Nyland bounced one along the boards. Preacher trying to clear. Got it to center ice. Now taken by Bob Murray. Murray shot it to the Leaf line. Maxwell starts back to Inacek. Here's the drive. He shot it up off the glass. Rebounding to the near corner. Lysiak put it to the far side. Mark Bergevin digs after it and flipped it out to center ice. We're halfway through the third period. Blackhawks with a 6-3 lead as the Leafs move in. Inacek into the far corner turning. Centered one, and Sauvé gloving that as it bounced by Preacher to hold on.
Well, the Leafs taking some chances. Getting 3 and 4 men in deep, trying to get those goals. They trailed 6-1. They scored a couple of quick ones to get back into it, but it's easy to play when you're trailing 6-1 because you throw caution to the wind. You just give it the full court press and try to get a break. It doesn't matter when you're trailing by 5. If you get blown out by another 5, you just keep taking chances.
Recently recalled Walt Podubny, who just came up from the minor leagues and has a goal tonight. Now has 8 points in 7 games for the Leafs this year. There's the draw. Doug Wilson cleared it to Lysiak. He shot it out to center ice. Now Podubny to Jim Benning, who sends it in. To the near corner it goes. Inacek took a bump from O'Callaghan. Came free to Salming, who's in deep. He centered one. That came to the line. And Benning tries to hold it in. Patterson able to clear it to center. Now bouncing around on the far side to Lysiak. And as he shoots it in, the Hawks are outside on the play. It's 6-3 Blackhawks. Back after this on Sports Vision and BBMA. Let's take 10 for identification. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
You'll find more of the sports that Chicago sports fans want to see here on Sports Vision.
The play is in the Toronto zone. Brad Maxwell tries to start back, feeding Fergus. Tom Fergus ahead for Stosny over the line. He couldn't hold the pass, or he might have been in. And it bounces around on the boards, corralled by Troy Murray. Murray gave it to Ben Wilson. Wilson back to Murray at center. Troy Murray shoots it in, and Kurt Frazier was down to the face-off dot. He was 40 feet offside.
Nyland, another first-round pick of the Toronto Maple Leafs, who also played junior hockey in Portland. Last year, played his first full season, really. First couple of years, he had severe knee damage. Had some tough luck as a rookie and in his sophomore year. A beleaguered Dan Maloney behind the bench.
Now the face-off, controlled by the Blackhawks Secord. He shoots it in. Chris Kotsopoulos is back. Gave it to Benning, who bounced it down into the Hog zone. Sauve put it to the far side and stole in there. Here's a shot. Sauve got back in time to make the save. And Savard motors back. Dennis Savard over the line. Left it for Secord, who overskated it, and here come the Leafs on the counterattack. Portnoy feeding Thomas a shot, and he missed the net. Rebounding to Savard, and he shot it to the Toronto line. Taken there by Courtnall. He feeds Wendell Clark to the Hog zone. Clark turns behind the net centering, and Patterson there to steal that. He cleared to the Toronto line. Now Russ Courtnall lost it to Sutter, and Darryl Sutter shoots one into the Toronto zone. Here's Gary Nyland for Freacher to Inachek. Peter Inachek over the Hawk line. Dropped it for Salming. Boreas Salming rolled it back of the goal. Freacher has it there. Now Freacher looking for a play. Centered one. Shot wide by Podobny as he was knocked down. And the Hawks clear it back into the Leaf zone. Alan Besser out to play it to Salming, or rather Nyland. Gary Nyland behind the goal. Now Nyland comes to center. Got it to Podobny over the line to Freacher, and he shot one wide. Rebounding to Inachek. Bounced it loose to Freacher, and he lost it in traffic. Taken by Ben Wilson. Wilson steps over the Toronto line. Centered one, old check, put it in front. It's intercepted by Salming at the defense. Back comes Inachek. Inachek for Freacher, back to Inachek trying to move in, and Sauve may have poked it away. Into the corner goes Maxwell, and he handed it right to Troy Murray. Couldn't get it out, though. Maxwell a shot, deflects well wide of the target. Now into the far corner, Podobny for Freacher, blocked beautifully by Ben Wilson, who slid in front. We're going to have a Hawk penalty coming. Now as the Hawks control, the whistle sounds. 5.5 minutes to go in the third, and the Leafs are going to have a power play opportunity. It's 6-3 Chicago, and the Leafs with a chance to get close again in the game.
Buck had the first two penalties of the game, gets the first penalty and only penalty of the third period. The Leafs have had 3 power plays in this game. They're 0 for 3, but DuPont's got a hold of the stick of Inachek, and he's unable to get away from him.
Don't forget tomorrow afternoon, the first of the Sunday afternoon matinees, as the Leafs are in town. 1:20 will be on the air on WBBM. It's a radio-only game tomorrow afternoon. And then on Monday night, the first of our Monday night Hawk Talk programs at the Ultimate Sports Bar and Grill. Hope you can stop by Monday at 7. Rich King and I will be there along with our guest on Monday, the veteran Hawk defenseman Bob Murray. Face off right in the slot here in front of Bob Sauvé. Here's the draw right to Bob Murray, and he clears it down all the way. Now the Leafs move out on the power play. Here's Brad Maxwell shooting it in. Sauvé put it to the near side. Now it's cleared over to Ludzik, and he's able to whack it out to center ice. Maxwell stepping back in, feeding Vive, turning along the board. Dropped it back for Maxwell. A long shot, and a save by Sauvé. Rebound to the far side, held in by Salming. He rolled it back of the net. Stosny centered one, deflecting to Ludzik. Clears it down all the way. A minute left on the Leaf power play as Maxwell chips it in. On the far side, here's Preacher in the corner. In behind to Podubny, center one. Sauvé blocked it to Olczyk. Clears it down all the way. And now the Leafs move back. Or rather, Podubny coughed it up as he came to the line. Doug Wilson beating O'Callahan. Cleared it to center. Troy Murray there. And pushed it down the length of the ice. Time for one more power play rush for Toronto. Jim Benning gains the line. Benning threw it in behind the goal. Now over to the far side. Ludzik bounced it loose, but not out. Came to the near side. Bob Murray has time. Clears it down all the way. And that's going to do it for the Hawks penalty now. It's over, and both teams are back at full strength. Leafs clear it into the Hawks zone. Bergevin gave it to Bob Murray. Along the boards for Larmer. Steve Larmer to Bergevin at center. He lost the handle there. And it's finally corralled by Courtnall. His pass broken up. Secord shot it into the Leaf zone. Taken by Jim Benning. And he clears it to the Hawk line. Here's Ben Wilson. Bouncing to center, and Savard into the Leaf zone. Dennis Savard moves in, centered one. That bounced loose behind the goal. Secord dug it out of there. Then lost it to Maxwell, who feeds Steve Thomas. Thomas on right wing over the Hawk line. DuPont played the body nicely that time. Now Courtnall digging it loose. Tries to move in. Secord put the clamps on him. And Larmer back of the goal wants to freeze it, and he does. Just over 2 minutes to go in the game. It's 6-3 Chicago. Back after this on Sports Vision and WBBM.
It's a 6-3 Chicago lead with 2:10 remaining. And tonight's Anheuser-Busch player of the game, Troy Murray, could give it to the whole line, but Troy Murray's 2 goals to start the third period iced this victory for the Blackhawks.
Here's the draw taken by the Leafs. Tom Fergus over the Hawk line. Rolled it to Stosny. He centered 1-5. His shot blocked. Rebound. They score! Fergus able to dig it away from Sauvé and bang it in. With 1:54 to play, it's a 6-4 Hawk lead.
The Hawks back in. They back in. Fergus the pass. Stastny back to Vive. His shot is blocked. It trickles back to Fergus. One backhand attempt, and then he turns and with quick hands gets the rebound past Sauvé. Vive's attempt for the hat trick, and then Fergus's goal to make it 6-4.
Tom Fergus from Rick Vive and Marion Stosny at 18:06. And the Hawk lead now 2 at 6-4. Puck cleared to the Toronto zone. Nyland in the near corner. Rolled it to Chris Kotsopoulos. And he shot it to center. Here's Bob Murray back into his own end. He flipped it to center. Now it came to Ben Wilson on the far side. Wilson a head-to-head. Olczyk, who has 3 assists tonight. And the 19-year-old dumps it in. Here's Nyland pushing it ahead to Vi. Vi with 2 goals and an assist in the game. Rolled it for Inacek, a backhander, and Sauvé just got a piece of that with his left shoulder and deflects it into the crowd.
I'm sure Bob Pulford will have some ammunition to get this team ready for tomorrow afternoon's contest against this Leaf club. He'll use this third period as an example. Once the Hawks had a 6-1 lead with 19 minutes to go in the game, and now it's been whittled down to a 2-goal lead.
.65 seconds to go in the third period. Now here goes Alan Bester to the bench, and 6 attackers come on the ice for Toronto. Face off to the right of Sauvé as the Leafs will go for the full court press. And why not?
Pretty well doing it in the third period, sending 5 guys in, 4 guys in. The Hawks haven't been able to take advantage of the odd man situations once they've gotten it out of their own zone.
Face off to the right of Sauvé. Here it is to Freacher, who was just ready to blast one, but they ruled the draw was dropped unfairly.
Well, Fergus took a whack at Savard's stick before the puck was dropped. Then Scampanello accidentally dropped the puck, and Freacher was ready to tee off.
Now the draw right to Freacher again. Shoot, tip, right on. Sauvé the save. Rebound to the near corner. Vi trying to dig it out. Bob Murray knocked it away from him. Murray clears it down into the center ice area. Now the Leafs flip it right back in. 45 seconds left as the Hawks clear it to center. Bouncing toward the open net. It's going to go just an inch wide. Savard chasing after it is tied up. Now the Leafs able to start back. Tom Fergus. Fergus with half a minute to go feeds Freacher. Coming over the Hawk line, trying to walk in front. Bob Murray tied him up and knocked him down. Puck cleared back into the Leaf zone. Secord chasing after it. He's going to have an empty netter. Secord the shot. He scores! 15 seconds to go, and the Hawks have won it as Secord finds the empty net to make it 7-4.
Well, Secord, who had a 6-game goal-scoring streak snapped the other night, gets his 7th goal in the last 8 games. DuPont's clearing attempt. He fired around the boards. No one was there. Secord had all kinds of time. He picked up the bouncing puck, took a look, took his time, and made sure of it with the wrist shot to make it a 7-4 win for the Hawks.
Secord's 26th of the year, an empty netter from DuPont at 1945 to cement the victory, and here's the draw into the Leaf zone. Blackhawks winning their 25th of the year against 19 losses and 7 ties. Here come the Leafs, but they don't have enough time. This one is in the books. Well, the Hawks took a 4-1 lead into the third period and then scored twice in the first 41 seconds. Troy Murray's 30th of the year from Olczyk and Ben Wilson at 13 seconds. Then Murray again his 31st from Olczyk and Frazier at the 41-second mark to make it 6-1 Hawks. But the Leafs got 3 straight. Podubny from Inacek and Freacher at 3:28. Rick Vive assisted by Stosny at 4:24. Then Fergus from Vive and Stosny at 18:06 to all of a sudden give the Leafs a breath of hope, but the Blackhawks put the final nail in the coffin when Secord hit the empty net for his 26th, assisted by DuPont at 19:45. The shots in the final period, the Blackhawks managed just 5 shots on goal, and 3 went in. The Maple Leafs had 16 shots for a game total of 36, while the Blackhawks had 25 shots on goal. Your final score, the Blackhawks 7, the Maple Leafs 4. We'll wrap it up after this.